He can't, he won't, he never will stop the party, Luke Ball. He absolutely bloody loves it. Jamie Vardy, 37-year-old Jamie Vardy, got the goal for Leicester City to ensure they drew 1-1 at home with Tottenham Hotspur. It was his 137th Premier League goal. The man just goes on and on, Luke Moore.
For everyone who's not watched Vardy for a while because he's not been in the Premier League, just be rest assured he's doing all the stuff he used to do, just a bit slower.
Yeah, not the yapping, not the slagging off the fans.
He's still a motor mouth.
Yeah.
How fast can you go, Vardy? 100 words a minute, same as always.
He could have won the game as well.
He should have won the game, probably.
Yes, indeed, yeah. Perhaps a touch harsh to focus on that. But the game, as I say, finished 1-1. I'm sure you're all aware. Incredible, really, watching the opening, I don't know, hour, thinking that Leicester might get something out of it. But they did. Spurs did all the early running, as we thought they would. We know that Ange Postecoglou's teams generally like to kind of press and play a high line and just good sort of high octane stuff. And they really did with Leicester City in that first half. Leicester were nowhere. They eventually got the goal, but ultimately they couldn't press home their advantage, and it has to go down as 2 drop points for Spurs, Luke.
Yeah, I mean, it's opened out the season for them. So, I mean, yeah, that's probably a little bit harsh, but you're absolutely right to suggest they should have been out of sight. They dominated the ball early on, and but for a Wilfred Ndidi goal line clearance, could have gone ahead after just a handful of minutes, couldn't they? Dominic Solanke had an early headed chance too. His movement was good. He looked quite sharp, actually.
Lovely feet.
Oh, great! Yeah. He's hit the ground running, and he looks to have given them the focal point they need, really, for how they like to play. But I thought Maddison's was good. Maddison looked like he was really motivated, obviously playing against his old club. His link up with Son was really good early on. And they were sharp, Spurs. They were on the front foot. They were intense. Final ball maybe wasn't quite there, but Leicester just couldn't get a foothold on the game at all. It was proper, people talk a lot about, because the way teams play these days, people talk a lot about an attack versus defence drill type feel to the game, and that's certainly how it felt the first kind of half an hour. And then when Spurs scored, you felt a bit like, okay, now they're going to really kick on. It's a nice ball from Maddison, wasn't it? Nice kind of inverted run from Pedro Porro. I think it came off. Did it come off his shoulder?
Yeah.
Looked like it might have flicked off his shoulder in the end. But anyway, found the corner. And really, as I say, you thought they would have pressed on and really kind of got the job done. Mm-hmm. But it didn't work like that, did it? It wasn't quite the story of the game. I also feel like, Leicester didn't give up. They kind of stuck in there, dug in there. Vardy's always a threat. And it was amazing to see him score in the Premier League again. I mean, I did say last season when Leicester were promoted, it's set for him really to get up there at the age of 37 and score a few more goals. Now, and you can see sometimes strikers, Marcus, we've seen it many times over the years, haven't we, where strikers in a bit of an Indian summer in their career, they start to do something and people are going, oh, maybe he can get an England call up again, and all this kind of stuff happens. I'm not quite suggesting he'll get to that stage, but
how many strikers need to get injured for him to get an England
call? Well, it'd probably be quite a lot given the quality of England these days.
I reckon about 5 or 6.
No, well, let's see. I'm not wishing for 5 or 6 England strikers to get injured, but if they do, it's good to know we've got a little safety blanket there. a little safety net should we need it. But the thing with Vardy is a really interesting talking point, because he gets his goal, and it was a really canny goal. Mm-hmm. He held his position well, didn't he? And the Spurs players got drawn towards the ball, weren't looking over their shoulder. And in the first half, it was really interesting because when Leicester won the Premier League, 8 years ago or whatever it was, that Vardy kind of archetypal goal was almost springing the offside trap, bending his run and using his pace and his quality finishing. And he feels like he just scored so many goals like that. Mm-hmm. And there were kind of opportunities for that there.
You saw the arc of the body.
You did, but you didn't see the pace.
Yeah.
And so it was, and especially, I mean, realistically, 37, he's not going to beat Van der Ven or even Romero in a foot race.
Well,
He
who
can
is going
occupy
to
them.
be? Van der Ven's going
Well,
to be.
exactly.
Yeah.
But what he showed with the goal is he can take up good positions, and he can still do a lot of the stuff that basically top strikers never really lose.
Mm-hmm.
And he was able to score. You're right to say he should have scored the second. It would have been a glorious return to the Premier League if he had scored two. But we had to be content with one. And a shitload of terrible behaviour besides, and that's what we come for.
Yeah, I think we got more than our fair share. Don't get me wrong; I'm not in the least bit disappointed. Other than I suppose you could say it could have been more. I mean, when you say about the lack of pace and so, he still got a bit of pace, and he showed that in the chance that presented itself when he could have had that second goal. It's a nice touch, and he's away. Obviously, had a bit of room and so on. So I take your point. I mean, Spurs in that first half, you mentioned it there, was just so on top. Like it was like men v boys at times. I know they didn't create too many opening sort of clear-cut chances, if you like, but it really, really was. However, when Jamie Vardy was spotted drinking a Red Bull at half-time, you thought, okay,
here we go. It's a bit like seeing a man, quite a handsome man, smartly dressed in spectacles, walk into a phone booth. You think, what's going to happen here?
I was thinking more a sailor having a little puff of a pipe and get some spinach down him.
Some spinach.
But yeah, I mean, Vardy, of course, missed pre-season. Presumably,
yeah, he's had no pre-season at all. He's not even fully fit.
Presumably, he was at Lineker's bar in in the Canary Islands or something. I don't know. I wouldn't like to speculate. But Steve Cooper said that he declared himself fit because Leicester didn't have a striker. And there he is. He's got the goal, and it's got them a draw. But the moment he was taken off, the Spurs fans, obviously, there's a bit of back and forth. One can never really have too much sympathy with Vardy if he's getting abuse from the opposition fans.
He very much invites it. I think he thrives upon it, doesn't he?
Yeah. In fact,
he's comfortable with it.
I would almost say, if you're an opposition fan, why on earth are you giving him abuse? Just why do it? Like, you should actually be applauding him. You should be telling him he's great. You should be singing the songs about him. It would confuse him. I don't know, but he scores, and then he shows the Spurs fans the badge, the Premier League badge on his shirt, and starts indicating that he has won Premier League title to his name, and obviously Leicester's name, whereas Spurs have 0. And then he told Romero to fuck off a couple of times, and off he went. So I mean, his work very much was done. I mean, there's a man.
I mean, Jamie Vardy is a man who every time he's subbed off, he behaves like a man in a bar who's been asked to leave.
Yeah.
Exactly. You can fuck off. All right, I'm going.
Yeah,
but you can fuck off.
The bouncers have got him to a point where he's accepted it, and he's near enough to the door, and they've got the numbers, and he's thinking, okay, fine, and he's like, all right, I'm going. Just let me go. Which is usually
I don't want to be carried out by my pants.
Yeah, code word for I don't want to be, carried out the building, and also I've just got a couple more things to say and then I'm done, all right? and that's what it was. But I mean, yeah, they were having to drag him off. Now, normally you have to drag a striker off because he wants a second goal or to stay on and try and find the winner. No, he just
not because he wants to pull his own pint.
He wanted to stay on because he wanted to swear at another professional more. That was why.
Yeah. It's very much a language, to be fair, it's very much a language that Christian Romero understands, though, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't think Christian Romero is uncomfortable in those situations either.
Jamie Vardy versus Christian Romero is Alien versus Predator, isn't it? As I always say, whoever wins, we lose.
Yeah, although I just can't see Vardy losing anything like that. But they were torn apart, and there were no more games.
He's a great addition. I mean, Vardy's a great addition back in the Premier League. I feel like we've had like a sequel to a movie that we never thought was going to happen.
I'll be honest with you, I can't believe our luck, quite frankly.
You know, like when Top Gun Maverick came out after all those years, and it was actually quite decent.
Yeah, you think to yourself,
it's a bit like that.
You worry, don't you? You think Tom Cruise is a little bit old.
Exactly. He's got a protagonist who's way too old to be doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
But somehow it's still good.
But yeah, can he do it? Can he? Yeah, no, he absolutely can. And he gives us something a little bit different, which we weren't expecting, and we very much enjoyed it. So it's a great start to the season.
Abuse. He gives us something a little bit different. It's just abuse, really. He abuses the ball into the back of the net. He abuses the other players, and he abuses the fans.
Oh dear. It is wonderful to have him back, though. It really, really is. Thank you for watching this clip from the Football Ramble. To listen to the full podcast, do click on the link in the show description or search Football Ramble in your podcast app and hit subscribe so you never miss an episode.